So nobody knows who you are, and that could be your biggest advantage to get rich if and only if you use that properly. So all I hope to achieve with this entire video is just shift your perspective a tiny little bit, especially if you're a beginner in business specifically. I've been seeing a few of you guys attempting to start them, which is huge respect, huge on you for actually taking the plunge, but I know what it's like to be at ground zero. I want you to know why starting from zero actually has some advantages over those who are even like multimillionaires or even billionaires. So I'm going to dive right into it. This actually started and sparked because of a consult call. Think of like a huge monster Boeing 757 versus a private jet. You'll understand that in a second. So I was on this call that I recently had. I'm actually trying to take less and less of those, by the way. I'm not trying to take too many consult calls anymore. I'm very busy. If you want or hope to start an agency, apply for the mentorship. We are hyper and turbo scaling this thing in the next couple of weeks. But anyways, this guy was telling me how I have all these advantages because of my established agency and my case studies. And he was saying he was kind of just making up excuses as to why he can't get clients and why he can't get customers and do his outreach properly. And I was like, dude, to the grand scheme of things, yes, you are correct. Like, huge zoom out, yes, you're going to need case studies if you want any business, any specific agency to be successful. But the thing is, he didn't understand this. My entire business identity is tied up in the real estate niche. If I wanted to pivot tomorrow, right, and start targeting insurance companies, dealerships, lawyers, contractors, I literally can't. Prospects would look at my website, my domain, my case studies. Everything screams real estate. And they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Why would I trust you if you don't have any contractor experience? Why are you reaching out to me? I'd get looked at like I have 3 eyes, right? But this guy, I told him, you don't understand the advantage you have. Nobody knows who you are, dude. You don't even have a niche. You barely know your service right now. You could secretly test every single thing under the sun, every single niche that you want, every single offer, every single type of service that I can't touch, right? I mean, I could, hypothetically, yes, I could start up a whole business. But then again, I even told him that because that was his objection, was like, okay, well, you could just start up a whole new business. It's like, brother, exactly. But guess what? Then we'd be at ground zero, right? Sure, I may have more capital, but if we're taking my capital away, we're at ground zero. You and I are on the exact same fucking level, right? So he can pivot within the snap of his fingers if something doesn't work out. It's like, again, the reason I'm saying the big Boeing jet is I'm on the Boeing 757. I'm in this huge plane, and yes, I can hold more passengers. Yes, I could probably go for a longer distance. Yes, I can probably make more money within that plane. But if you're in a private jet, dude, you can go anywhere. That's got, you're nimble. You can adapt to any situation. You can go anywhere in the fucking world, right? And today, when everything's rapidly changing in the business landscape, that agility is everything, right? So I really want to drive that point home. I don't think he understood it towards the very end, and it was almost like even mind-opening for myself and being like, damn, this is all very good points, and I just kind of thought of it on the spot. So the 2 truths, before we dive any deeper, I want to hit you with 2 things. Like, one, every single person, including myself, started from somewhere, right? And you can't just count yourself out because you don't have the track record, you don't have the case studies, you don't have the reputation. I didn't have any of that either. And, minus the people starting with the silver spoon in their mouths, I started with nothing, just like you, right? So, second, every position in business has an advantage, even being the underdog. Actually, in my opinion right now, especially being the underdog. For example, AI. We're so new into AI that even if you started 6 months from now versus people who are starting a year and a half ago, it doesn't really matter. As long as you just get on the fucking train, you're going to be fine, right? So again, if you're watching this thinking, nobody knows who I am, I have no credibility, no social proof, congratulations, dude. You just identified like a huge piece of leverage, your secret weapon, if you will. Okay, so the question isn't whether you have advantages. The question is, are you smart enough to actually recognize them, to be self-aware and ruthless enough to exploit them? Okay, so think about that. Next point, I want to talk about the first massive advantage, the core one of being unknown. Complete freedom to experiment, unlimited bats, right? When nobody knows who you are, you can pivot, freaking rebrand if you want to, completely change your name, direction without any public scrutiny, without any eyeballs on you. And you know what I can't do? I can't suddenly start posting about freaking crypto without people questioning my expertise. I can't pivot to e-commerce without confusing my customers, right? It just doesn't work. But you can test freaking real estate marketing this month. You can try software software the next month. You can do AI the month after that. Your failed attempts don't follow you around because, dude, there's no digital footprint to come after you yet. It doesn't matter. You can pivot, right? You get to define your narrative from scratch. There's no like preconceived notions about what you should be doing and what you should post content about and all that stuff. It doesn't matter, right? There's no audience that you have. This is the entrepreneurial equivalent of being able to take a million swings at the plate while nobody's keeping score. And trust me, in business, you need to just take multiple swings to see what works in the first place. So you may as well just start. You may as well just go, right? So I guess the second slash just moving along, the thing about interesting that's human psychology is people are drawn to like genuine, unpolished, like, ruthless, humble beginnings in a way, more than someone who's corporate, more than corporate personas. And again, I'm trying to be a little bit relatable in some videos. Some once in a while videos, I'll make something very unrelatable, but I've gotten comments like that before where it's like, dude, it's kind of hard to relate to this. Like, I kind of relate to this creator more because he's on more of my level. And there's no right or wrong answer. You're actually correct. I believe in the three trios. Like, find someone who is well above you, find someone near or at your level, and then find someone below you that you can mentor, that you can feel good about helping in your day-to-day. Right? So people love following someone who just started from their journey. This is literally Brez Scales in action, right? Look at how big and huge of a following this guy's got now. They want to be a part of your come up. They want to be a part of your story when you're almost unknown and low key, right? You can be vulnerable about what you're struggling with without damaging this like huge reputation that you're a multimillionaire and you don't have bad days. It's like, dude, everyone has bad days. I've been struggling a lot behind the scenes with some personal stuff. It's like, dude, everyone goes through some stuff, and I can't, like, I'm trying to be more vulnerable myself. So trust me, being unknown creates intrigue and mystery that actually works in your favor, right? It happens. I love actually finding more about underdogs in business than I do people who are established billionaires at this point, honest to God, or hidden billionaires. That is so fascinating to me. Every single time I was listening to My First Million podcast recently, and they were talking about two people that I was like, where did this guy come from? This guy's worth $6.5 billion and I've never heard of his name before. And there's hundreds of people like this, right? So when you have people watching you, they start expecting more from you. They start critiquing your every move. They start watching you like a freaking hawk, dude, whether you like it or not. Customers, employees, family members, like friends, I promise you. So right now, you get the benefit of the doubt and the excitement of potential. Wow, that guy's ambitious. That guy looks cool. Like, this is awesome, right? Use it to your advantage, okay? Kind of goes into the next point. So low pressure testing area, environment, whatever the hell you want to call it. I want to talk about pressure for a second. When you're established, every single move is scrutinized. Think of like public companies. Every piece of content is just against you. Every business decision is analyzed by competitors, your customers, your employees. But nobody knows who you are. You're operating in a very low pressure environment. It's you versus you, dude. That's it. You can test different content styles, voices, niches without disappointing anyone watching, right? Because it doesn't exist. So I'm telling you, criticism stings a lot less when it's not attached to your identity that you already have, that you've built up, which is, again, there's a lot of pros to an audience, but the big con is not being able to shift right away. You don't know. And Weiler, for example, like, we talk about this all the time. Of course we want to make videos that make the algorithm well, but dude, we both talk about the time where it's like, we would just post what we truly wanted to post. And I'm not saying I don't want to post these videos. I love every single video that I post, but of course there's some, options and moments where I'm like, man, am I really making this video, or am I making this video because I just want some extra, like a nice little spike in views? And I have that once every couple of months. I will be fully transparent about that, right? But I know in my core, I should just do what I want. And that's what someone at ground zero can do. They can always do what they want, right? Because they don't have that audience on them yet. So again, you can make mistakes, you can iterate very quick. And the beautiful thing is, once you just find what works, that becomes your quote unquote like origin story that people love, that people relate to. So it's a win-win all the way around, right? Going to the next point, you have like strategic flexibility and a lot more market intelligence. Honest to God, like, when it really gets interesting, when nobody knows who you are, you have strategic flexibility. You can study what works for others and adapt it without being called a copycat. I can't suddenly start using the same video ideas as my competitors without people noticing. People call it out. I got called the Dan Coe of the gaming world, which I actually loved. He wasn't saying it as a hate comment anyways, but it's like, it made me think for a second. It's like, damn, I'm not trying to copy him. Like, I want to make up my own style, but you got to kind of replicate what works. And that's scrutiny in a way. It's good scrutiny, but you can model successful businesses as a beginner across multiple industries and just cherry pick the best strategies. You can collaborate with anyone without worrying about like brand alignment, or you can test partnerships, you can test different ventures, you can do anything. And plus, your competition changes over time. So the people who seem like unreachable today might be your literal friends tomorrow or peers tomorrow. So the key is like, while they're comfortable in their established position, you're hungry, you're nimble, you're ambitious, you're willing to do what they won't do, right? So I guess like last point here, the competitive, reality check. Like, let me give you the reality check about your competition that you seem to be so hooked on, that they're so established. Most of them got comfortable. Okay, they're running the same playbook that they ran 3 years ago. I'm a huge proponent and loser of this. My agency is doing a huge pivot right now because I've been selling the same offer for years. It's slowly starting to die out. I need to pivot, right? And I used to be afraid of pivoting because I had so much invested in the current identity. So, your competitors think the same way. They can't test new markets without confusing customers. They can't experiment with new approaches. They're the Boeing 757 trying to make a sharp turn. And you know what you are? You're the jet, right? You can just turn around in 30 seconds. You can outmaneuver them. You can out-test them. You can out-adapt them, everything, right? So I want you to think of that. I really, really want you to take that mindset. Embrace being unknown. Use the window of anonymity, or whatever the hell that word is, to test aggressively. Pivot quickly. Experiment quickly. My call to action to you: pick 3 niches you're interested in and spend the next 30 days creating content for each one. Do cold outreach for each one and just test different messaging. Just do stuff, dude. Throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. We're at a black screen now. As always, the classics. If you've made it this far, I want to see you win. We will see you in the next one, and thank you for your time.